War 4 is a game all about making powerful armies and divisions, but what if you just threw all that out the window? And you made these terrible divisions with just a single infantry unit. So I'm just going to be testing that out, and it does not work that well when you have thousands of divisions, all with 6 soft attack. I started by disbanding all my units, which left me as a healthy amount of supplies to start training more divisions. In my 1937, we had 120 divisions, which is about 120,000 people. And the more divisions we had out in the field, the more that we could produce, so that we just make more and more for each batch of people we produced. In my world conquest, my first targets are the Middle East, specifically Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq. I had an army 4 to 5 times larger than all 3 of them combined, so it should be pretty easy, right? Well, it was for the most part, except for my border with Afghanistan, which is just a flipping mountain range. So that'll be pretty hard to deal with, and I'll have to wait until I'm able to make some more progress. Iran was pretty easy to take out, and they capitulated in March, which actually allowed us to make some progress in Afghanistan instead of just kind of sitting there on the border. And then Iraq capitulated in 3 months, as they were pretty small and easy. And then Afghanistan in 3 more. And when the war ended, we had 1,421 units, which is almost 4 times the amount we had when we started the war, a little bit over a year ago. In the meantime, we had an inner war by trying to keep our country traitor-free and getting rid of Trotsky and anyone who even remotely supported him. And some wars happened outside, such as Japan declaring war on China and Communist China, and then and also Great Britain for some reason, and then Germany they annexed Austria and forcefully took over such Czechoslovakia, which is somewhat historically accurate, but not a good sign for me, unless I become buddies with the Germans, and they're my friends now. This is kind of a world conquest. I decided my next target would be China, and by doing the China mini pass in the Soviet focus tree, which basically you support either Xinjiang, China, or Communist China, I chose to support Xinjiang as they were not allied with Great Britain, and basically you can just declare war on the other Chinas, except I think Japanese China, like Mengoku and Manchukuo, and I joined forces with Xinjiang and also Saudi Arabia, and I declared war on just Shibi Sanma and Shaanxi, if they were not at war, and I thought they would be pretty easy to take as they're relatively small warlords. What would be called World War II, except I'm playing on not historical, but it is World War II, I guess. So Germany, along with Italy, declared war on Luxembourg, which caused them, along with France and Romania, to join the Commonwealth of Nations, which was just made up of former British dominions. Speaking of the Brits, they joined the Axis somehow, and they abandoned the faction they were in with China and Communist China. Which is pretty weird. Now there's the British faction doesn't even include the British. On the front lines, we weren't doing that well, as it was my troops split between Jibi Sanma and Shaanxi. We weren't able to make that much progress, as they just had too many troops for us to deal with, and it was spread out, so we couldn't make any progress against them, but they couldn't make any progress against us. Something happened, so at some point, Jibi Sanma and Shaanxi joined the faction which had China and Communist China, and then Jibi Sanma left the faction, and so we weren't at war against them, which is nice. Then we could focus all our troops on Shaanxi and hopefully make some more progress. And also, Japan was also fighting them, and hopefully they'll help us. And also, they joined the Commonwealth of Nations, so also Canada, France, Romania could help us. But France got capitulated, so it's not the best for us in terms of them helping us. Even after having several thousand, I'm talking 5,500 divisions at the Shaanxi border, we weren't able to make any progress. Even for 1,000 divisions, I attacked three of the divisions. We just wouldn't be able to get through. We made a little progress, but I ultimately decided just to go to the Japanese coast, where they like were taking like Beijing around the area, Beijing like down like the right side, coastal side of China, and hopefully that would make it a lot easier to conquer them and have a lot more progress than I had now. Um, in like Hoi 4 China, there's like this thing where like one warlord can just come to rule all of China, like direct decision, like it'd be a communist China, regular China, someone else. And I think this time it had me to the Guangxi clique. And for some reason, and that's why I think when they capitulated, the rest of China capitulated, and so the war ended because of that, which is kind of stupid as like Shaanxi and communist China, and also think Yunnan, which like had like 0% capitulation progress, but that's good for us. And I was able to snag Guangxi and a little bit of like the former Manchukuo. Some former members of the Commonwealth of Nations, such as Canada, France, and Ireland, asked to join my faction, the Comintern. But foolishly, I accepted their request, even though they reward the Axis. So when they joined, I had to fight the Axis. I actually didn't have to now, realizing this later. But I could just like kick them out of the faction or just ignore them. I decided to, I guess. And then, so my troops were still in China, and they were really unprepared for war. And so Germany and Great Britain, they just took a bunch of our land, like around like Ukraine. And then when I did get back, they were just like more powerful than us, and my troops were undersupplied and pretty weak from doing a bunch of fighting. And so every single one of my 5,000 troops, my divisions, they just died. They're gone. And I capitulated to them in something that was foreseeable and preventable. World conquest ruined. Like, subscribe, and comment. Just do all that stuff that YouTubers want you to do. I don't have any more content up now, but I'll definitely add some more. And you can watch that when that comes out.